Welcome to the Ekios Zone. Let's get started. The 1970s was a transformative decade for music, marked by the emergence and evolution of numerous genres and styles that would leave a lasting impact on the industry. This era witnessed the maturation of rock music, the birth of punk and new wave, the rise of disco, and the consolidation of jazz fusion, each contributing to a vibrant and diverse musical landscape. Rock music in the 1970s was characterized by both its diversity and its evolution from the preceding decade. The early 1970s saw the consolidation of the classic rock sound with bands like Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, and The Who, solidifying their influence. Led Zeppelin, with their blend of blues, hard rock, and early heavy metal, created a powerful sound that defined the era. The Rolling Stones continued to push boundaries with their gritty rock and roll, while The Who's ambitious rock operas like Quadrophenia showcased a more conceptual and theatrical approach to rock. As the decade progressed, the genre underwent significant changes with the rise of progressive rock. Bands such as Yes, Genesis, and Emerson, Lake and Palmer introduced complex compositions, elaborate stage shows, and an emphasis on musicianship that set them apart from their more straightforward rock predecessors. Progressive rock's intricate arrangements and incorporation of classical and jazz elements reflected a broader artistic ambition and a desire to push the boundaries of what rock music could achieve. In stark contrast to the polished and elaborate sound of progressive rock, punk rock emerged as a raw and rebellious response. Punk's roots can be traced back to the mid-1970s, primarily in the United States and the United Kingdom. The Ramones, hailing from New York City, were pioneers of the genre with their fast, stripped-down sound and simplistic yet powerful lyrics. Meanwhile, the Sex Pistols and The Clash brought a politically charged edge to punk in the UK, criticizing the establishment and societal norms through their music. Punk rock was more than just a musical style. It was a cultural movement that emphasized DIY ethics and an anti-establishment attitude. The genre's influence extended beyond music and fashion and art, creating a new countercultural wave that rejected the perceived excesses of mainstream rock. Disco music, characterized by its danceable beats and orchestral arrangements, became a dominant force in the 1970s. The genre's roots can be traced to the dance clubs of the late 1960s, but it truly exploded in popularity during the 1970s. Artists like Donna Summer, the Bee Gees, and Gloria Gaynor were at the forefront of the disco phenomenon, producing hits that defined the era's dance floor. Disco's influence extended beyond music into fashion and film, with movies like Saturday Night Fever becoming cultural touchstones. The genre's focus on rhythm, groove, and danceability marked a significant shift in popular music, emphasizing the importance of the beat and the communal experience of dancing. Disco's vibrant, energetic sound and its association with nightlife and hedonism made it a defining feature of 1970s culture. Jazz fusion emerged in the 1970s as a genre that blended jazz with elements of rock, funk, and R&B. This fusion was a natural progression from the experimental nature of jazz in the 1960s, and it represented a new frontier for musicians seeking to explore innovative sounds and styles. Key figures in this movement included Miles Davis, whose albums Bitches Brew and On the Corner were pivotal in defining the genre. Davis's willingness to experiment with electric instruments and complex rhythms pushed jazz into new territory. Other notable jazz fusion artists included Weather Report, led by Joe Zawinul and Wayne Shorter, and the Hamasu Orchestra, founded by guitarist John McLaughlin. These groups blended virtuosic musicianship with diverse influences, creating a hybrid genre that appealed to both jazz aficionados and rock fans. Jazz fusion's emphasis on improvisation, complex time signatures, and electric instrumentation represented a broader expansion of jazz's traditional boundaries. The 1970s also saw significant advancements in music technology and production techniques, which had a profound impact on how music was created and consumed. The widespread use of synthesizers and drum machines began to shape the sound of popular music. Synthesizers, popularized by artists like Kraftwerk and Tangerine Dream, introduced new textures and sounds to the music landscape, laid the groundwork for future electronic and dance music genres. The development of multi-track recording technology allowed for greater experimentation in the studio, enabling artists to layer sounds and create more complex and polished productions. This technological innovation was particularly influential in the creation of elaborate rock and disco recordings, which often featured intricate arrangements and extensive use of overdubbing. The 1970s was a decade of immense musical diversity and innovation, marked by the evolution of rock into both classic and progressive forms, the emergence of punk as a raw, rebellious force, the rise of disco as a dominant dance genre, and the birth of jazz fusion as a genre that expanded the boundaries of jazz. Each of these developments contributed to a rich and varied musical landscape that defined the era and left a lasting impact on subsequent decades.